grade children. Today we are going to have the new concept, that is balancing a chemical equation. First of all, you should know what is a chemical equation. First we will have the discussion about what is meant by word equation. Next, what is a chemical equation? So first, what is a word equation? Suppose I am saying hydrogen reacts with oxygen to give water. Okay? So this is representing this chemical reaction in words is called as word equation. So hydrogen reacts with oxygen to form water. Now representing this like this: hydrogen plus oxygen gives rise to water. This is called as word equation. So representing a chemical reaction in words is called as a word equation. Okay? Representing a chemical reaction. Representing a chemical reaction in words is called as word equation. Okay? It is a chemical reaction. Then what is a chemical reaction? Chemical reaction means what? Reactants react to give products. Okay? So reactants will react and give products. This is a chemical reaction. Next, what is a chemical equation? That we will see now. In the meantime, you note down. Now, what is a chemical equation? See, what is a chemical equation? The representation of a chemical reaction in a condensed form using chemical formula is called as the chemical equation. Okay? See, writing a word equation using symbols and formula is called as a chemical equation. See, in the previous word equation what we had, hydrogen reacts with oxygen to give water. So hydrogen plus oxygen gives water. H2 plus O2 gives rise to water. So hydrogen symbol is H2. Oxygen formula is O2. Not symbol, we use the word formula. Hydrogen formula H2. Oxygen formula O2. Water H2O. Okay. Next example you see. Copper sulfate reacts with zinc. Okay. Copper sulfate reacts with zinc and produce and forms zinc sulfate and copper. So this is a chemical reaction. Now we will write it in the form of word equation. Copper sulfate reacts with zinc to give zinc sulfate can write the chemical equation. So in this, what is there? Copper and sulfate ions are there. So copper Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus plus zinc Zn only gives rise to. Okay. Before that, we will write the formula clearly. So by cis cross method, 2 ones are 2 ones are, you will get CuSO4. Okay. Copper sulfate is CuSO4 and zinc is Zn gives rise to zinc sulfate. Here again zinc is Zn2 plus and sulfate is SO4 2 minus. 2 ones are 2 ones are. By cis cross method, ZnSO4 plus copper. So this is the equation, chemical equation we call. CuSO4 plus Zn gives rise to ZnSO4 plus Cu. Now you see, chemical reaction means what? Reactants react to give products. Here the things which are written on the left hand side, these are called as the reactants. If more than 2 or 1 reactants are there, they are separated by the plus symbol. And the things which are written on the right hand side of the chemical equation, those are called as the products. Products. And if they are more than 1, they are separated by the plus sign. And arrow gives the direction of the reaction. So it is a forward reaction. So this is all about the chemical equation. So reactants react to give products. Here what are the reactants which are written on the left hand side? That is copper sulfate with zinc. And what are the products? These are the products. If anything is written on the arrow, that is catalyst. Catalysts are written on arrow. Catalysts are written on arrow. In some cases, conditions also they will write. Conditions, catalysts or conditions are written on arrows. Okay. So this is all about the chemical equation representation. So please make a note of this. Try to understand clearly what is a reactant and what is a product, which side they are written. Okay, now what we had the discussion, the previous one, once we will review. In a chemical equation, the reactants are written on the left hand side, while the products are on the right hand side. Okay, left hand side, you can see here, H2 plus O2 gives rise to H2O. Here the reactants are what? Hydrogen and oxygen, and the products are H2O. Next, an arrow heading towards the product is drawn between the reactants and the products. See, hydrogen plus oxygen gives rise to H2O. So this gives the thing. Okay. Next, the arrow drawn between the reactants and products indicates the direction of the reaction. Suppose if I write like this, H2 plus O2. H2O means what? H2O will give H2 plus O2. Here what? H2 plus O2 gives rise to H2O. See, this is forward reaction and this is backward reaction. Have you understood? Hydrogen plus oxygen are the reactants. They give water. Again here what is happening? Water is giving hydrogen and oxygen. In this case, H2O will act as a reactant and hydrogen plus oxygen the products. Backward reaction. Next, if the reactants or products are 2 or more, they are linked with a plus sign. Just we have seen H2 plus O2 gives rise to H2O. Here the product is 1 only, so there is no need of plus. But here the reactants are 2. One is hydrogen and one is oxygen. So these two are separated by a plus sign. Next, to make the chemical equation more informative, the physical states of the reactants are indicated in the equation: gaseous, solids and liquid states. Suppose H2 plus O2 gives rise to H2O. So H2 is a gas, oxygen is a gas, but water is a liquid. Like this, the states they are given. Next, if the product is a gaseous one, it is indicated by an upward arrow. If the product formed is insoluble solid in the form of a precipitate, it is indicated by a downward arrow. Suppose you take this carbon dioxide decomposes to carbon plus oxygen. Here oxygen is a gas, so it is indicated by the upward arrow. In the same way, AgNO3, or you take a precipitate formation, okay, BaSO4 plus HCl, okay. Here you will get BaCl2 plus H2SO4. So here BaCl2 is precipitate down. Okay, like this the examples. Precipitates are downward arrow. So you please note down. So in today's class we have seen what is a word equation, what is a chemical equation, and what are reactants and what are products, and how to write a word equation and how to write a chemical equation. The next we will see how to balance the chemical equation. You can make a note of all these in your notebook. And if you have any doubt, you can call me on WhatsApp. Text me on WhatsApp or you can call me. So now balance the following reactions. What is that? First we have magnesium when burned gives magnesium oxide. Second one is sodium hydroxide when reacted with sulfuric acid forms sodium sulfate and water. How to balance? First one we will see. First you have to write the word equation. For word equation you should identify what are the reactants and what are the products. So reactants are what? Magnesium is burned in air. What is that? Oxygen. Okay, and the product is what? Gives. This is the product. Okay, gives means the product. What is that? Magnesium oxide. Now you see, reactants gives rise to products. So magnesium plus oxygen gives rise to magnesium oxide. Now next what we have to do? We have to write the formulas of these. So what is the formula of magnesium? Mg. And what is the formula of oxygen? O2. this is the anion. So magnesium means Mg2 plus. Oxide means O2 minus. So 2 ones are 2 ones are. So you will get MgO. So the product is what? MgO. The formula of magnesium oxide is what? MgO. Now you see here. How to balance? Whether it is balanced or not, you see first. First of all, you identify the atoms on reactant side. Magnesium is there and oxygen is there. Magnesium and oxygen are the things. So how many they are on the reactant side and how many they are on product side, you count. Magnesium is 1. On product side also 1 only. Whereas oxygen on reactant side, how many are there? 2 atoms. Here 1 only. So it is not balanced equation. Okay. Now we have to balance it. So this 1 is balanced. This 2 has to become this. So what I will do? Magnesium plus oxygen gives rise to MgO. Now here even number and here one odd number came. You close this and multiply the total with 2. Then it is balanced equation. 2 magnesiums, 2 magnesiums. 2 oxygens, 2 oxygens. Now it is balanced equation. So how we will represent this means 2 moles of magnesium plus 1 mole of oxygen gives rise to 2 moles of MgO. How you will read this means 2 moles of magnesium plus 1 mole of oxygen gives rise to 2 moles of MgO. So what is mole we will see in the next video. So what is the balanced equation? This is the balanced equation. 2Mg plus O2 gives rise to 2MgO. This is the way we have to balance. First you identify the reactants and what are the products. Then write word equation. Next you write the formulas. After writing the formula, you count how many atoms are there reactant side and how many atoms are there product side. Then you balance them. Here one even and one odd number came. So you close this and multiply the total with 2. Shortcut method. Note down. Second one I will explain now. What is the second one? Sodium hydroxide when reacted with sulfuric acid. See, sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid are the reactants. Forms means these are the products. Sodium sulfate and water. So first reactants are what? Reactants are sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. Products are what? Sodium sulfate and water. These two are the things. So we will write the reaction. Sodium hydroxide, plus sulfuric acid. Gives rise to sodium sulfate plus water. Now this is word equation. We have to write the chemical equation. Means you have to write the formulas. What is the formula of sodium hydroxide? So sodium is there and hydroxide is there. So sodium Na plus, hydroxide OH minus. Sulfuric acid formula you know directly, H2SO4. Now sodium sulfate again, sodium and sulfate. So sodium is Na plus, sulfate is SO4 2 minus. By cis cross method, Na2SO4. Water formula is what? H2O. So by cis cross method, NaOH. So what is the reaction now? Sodium hydroxide NaOH plus sulfuric acid H2SO4 gives rise to sodium sulfate Na2SO4 plus H2O. Now what you will do? You have to identify what are the elements. First, sodium, oxygen, hydrogen already written, sulfur, oxygen is already written. Now you calculate how many are reactant side and how many are product side. So sodium 1 reactant side, product side 2. Oxygen 1 plus 4, total 5. And here 4 plus 1, 5. Hydrogens 1 plus 2, 3. Here 2. Sulfur 1. This side 1. See, sodium is not balanced. Hydrogen is not balanced. Remaining all are balanced. Oxygen is balanced and sulfur is balanced. Okay. Now first, what I will do? I will write again the equation NaOH plus H2SO4 gives rise to Na2SO4 plus H2O. Now here 1 and here 2. So I will write here 2. 2 NaOH plus H2SO4 gives rise to Na2SO4 plus H2O. Now you see here what is happening. Again I have to write these reactants and products. First I have to write again these reactants and products. So I will first start for this equation. Sodium, how many are there? 2. Product side 2. Oxygens now 2 into 1 2 plus 4 16. Here 4 plus 1 5 only. Next hydrogens 2 into 1 2 plus 2 4. Here only 2 came. Sulfur, here 1, here 1. Again now, oxygen is not balanced this time. Sodium is balanced and sulfur is balanced. Oxygen and hydrogens are not balanced. What shall we do now? So first what I will do? 2 NaOH plus H2SO4 gives rise to Na2SO4 plus 2H2O I will write. Why? Here 4 is there, here 2 only. No. I multiplied and I will get 2 to the 4. Now again I will check whether the reactants and products are balanced or not. For this, 2 sodiums balanced. Oxygens 2 into 1 2, 1 into 4 4. 4 plus 2 6 reactant side. Product side 4, 2 into 1 2 6. It is balanced. Hydrogens 2 into 1 2, 1 into 2 2. 2 plus 2 4. Here 2 2s are 4, balance. sulfur. One sulfur and here one sulfur. Now it is balanced equation. Now how I will write this? How I will write this? 2 moles of NaOH plus 1 mole of sulfuric acid gives rise to 1 mole of Na2SO4 plus 2 moles of H2O. So this is balanced equation. And how we will read like this? 2 moles of NaOH plus 1 mole of sulfuric acid gives rise 1 mole of sodium sulfate and 2 moles of water. So this is the way we have to balance. In the next class we will see what is moles. So this is about today's class. In today's class we have learned what is a word equation, what is a chemical equation, and how to write a word equation, how to write a chemical equation, and how to write a balanced equation, and how to balance the chemical equation. Okay? And the last thing is, if the number of atoms on the reactant side is equal to the number of atoms on the product side, then it is called as a balanced chemical equation. If the number of atoms on the reactant side is not equal to